welcome to Visual Recreation. I'm Drew, and this is my pal Joey.
That's right. How's it going today?
They can't talk back, Joey.
What? Well, I was asking you. How are you? How's it going? How are you?
I'm not going to dignify that with a response. All right. So
with that, thank you.
We are here today because we took a journey, a self-actualizing, self-reflective journey on ranking every Pixar movie against each other. And we gave these rankings 1 through 22. Now, I'll give you a little bit of insight on how we did this. We went on our own. We ranked them 1 through 22, 1 being the best, 22 being our least favorite or the worst in our opinions. Then we came together and aggregated the scores, and we came up with one ultimate list on what is the best Pixar movie and where we ranked them all.
That's right. So, in today's episode, we are going to take a look. We're starting at number 22.
And we're going to go up to 11.
Up to 11.
In 22nd place, the absolute worst Pixar movie, in our opinion, is Toy Story 4. One of the more recent movies of Pixar to come out. Now, I found this funny, Joey, because when we came together, they were both both of our lists had it ranked at the very bottom. Why did you have it ranked at the bottom of your list?
This whole list process was pretty challenging for me because I love Pixar, but Toy Story 4, I just felt was one of those movies, didn't really need to be made.
That's right. In an interview I heard with the people that made it and wrote it, they said that they wouldn't have came back to the Toy Story well unless there was a story that needed to be told. But upon watching it last year, I didn't feel like it really needed to be told. I just didn't think it made a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, well, they could have done it a little bit differently. I feel like if they made it a little bit closer to Bonnie, because people wanted to see what the toys were going through when they switched homes, when Andy gave them over to Bonnie. They wanted to see that story continue, and it kind of started that way.
Yes.
But once the toys were on their own little adventure, it really didn't have anything to do with Bonnie at all. It didn't have any... the toys didn't have that same kind of loyalty to getting back to Bonnie, at least Woody didn't.
Definitely not.
Like they
he
did,
pieced out.
Yeah, like they did with Andy. So, I mean, if they made it a little more personal like that, then it probably would have... I probably would have liked it better.
At the end, we pretty much saw Woody looking into the window of that RV, looking at Buzz going, "Hey, she's your problem now. I found a new gal." And they just pieced out.
So surprisingly, number 21 on the list, Cars 2. We both put that at the bottom as well.
Yes, I agree.
So why did you have that one?
Very forgettable, I have to say. One of the early on sequels that I remember watching from the Pixar universe, and I just wasn't excited about it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, the original Cars, you're dealing with racing, and then it's kind of like, I don't know if I should compare it to that. It's kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Fast and the Furious movies, the whole Tokyo Drift isn't the favorite amongst everyone.
I mean, it's a spin-off, yeah.
Like that, but it was a different direction type thing.
Yes.
So that's kind of what this feels like. Is Cars 2, they went in a different direction, and then they brought it back together with Cars 3. So.
They should have made Cars 2 Tokyo Drift, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to number 20 on the list, and that is going to be The Good Dinosaur. Now, Joey, you had The Good Dinosaur around 20 on your list, and mine was around 19. What was some of the things about The Good Dinosaur that kind of had you not liking it as much as some of the other ones?
I mean, like I said in the beginning, it was a challenging list to come up with. It wasn't as iconic or memorable to me as a movie.
Yeah.
It was still a fun little movie.
Yeah, and I think that says something, too, because this is also ranked one of the lowest grossing Pixar movies in recent history. It's not as well liked. I think it came out on Thanksgiving weekend one time, and it had one of the lowest grosses ever. Okay. I just think it doesn't have that appeal. Like you said, have the iconic characters, the most notable, like a Mike Wazowski or Nemo or something like that.
Or Woody or Buzz. Or,
Exactly. Yeah, Toy Story again. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. What's next up on our list there? Yeah.
All right, so moving right along to number 19 on our list, we have Brave.
Ooh.
Ooh, so that one's near the bottom. For me, Brave, I still don't know if I've seen the entire movie all the way through. just to be honest, I'm gonna put that out there. Another big thing is I have 2 small children, and I feel like Brave would probably be a good message in the story. But I feel like,
of course,
it's got some scary moments in it.
Okay,
that would probably.
It's not as general audience appeal.
Yeah, it'd probably scare my daughter, so that's why I probably haven't revisited it recently.
Right, true. Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like you could say the same thing about The Good Dinosaur with Brave. Mm-hmm. I think, of course, all these movies have good motifs, have good themes, have good messages attached to them, and the animation style, is going to be really good. And I feel as though Brave just does not hold it as much as some of these other ones. And like you said, I mean, I watched it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember it as fondly as some of these other movies. It just didn't grasp me as much as it could have. 18, we have Cars 3.
That's right.
That's right. Rounding out these Cars with 3 coming in well above 2.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
3 is him getting back into racing, right? There's a new stud on the racing.
That's right.
And he's like electric, he's faster, but Lightning McQueen is the experienced, older car, and he's wanting to prove himself that he still has what it takes. And we're getting back down to the racing that we knew and loved in Cars 1. Also, like you said, with the animation style before, you love the animation style. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. The animation in Cars is phenomenal. In Cars 3, though, I will say they stepped it up a lot, especially in that opening car crash sequence.
Yes.
I mean, you see everything, all the like the grit of the road, the nuts and bolts, the tires. You just see everything in fine details. So.
Right. Now we're going on to number 17, and this is also another sequel in the Pixar universe, and this is going to be Monsters University, a sequel prequel to Monsters Inc. It came out fairly recently, right? I mean, it didn't come out too long ago. But
too long ago.
We go back to where Mike and Sully are in college and how their friendship grew and how they started to learn to be friends together and all that fun stuff. We have this at number 17. Again, I think it's just another sequel. It's like sequelitis. I think Monsters University kind of hinders on the same kind of side where they're banking on how big Monsters Inc. was. It just wasn't as exciting or gripping of a story as Monsters Inc.
Trying to extend the storyline of familiar characters just for like a cash grab or something.
Yeah.
Even though the story
you, Disney.
Even though the story was fun, it had its funny moments. Nothing like the original. I mean, going to number 16.
Yes.
We have a Ratatouille.
That is correct. Yes. A little bit of a double entendre with words because, hey, it's a rat in a kitchen, which I'm not a huge fan of personally in my kitchens. Right. But then there's also
a dish.
A dish called Ratatouille.
Have you ever had it?
No, I have not had that.
I have not either.
A different kind of story, right? It's a guy who, if he gets his hair pulled, his arms will do whatever his hair is done. Oh my gosh, I never tried to explain what Ratatouille is about. But
it's a guy down on his luck trying to make it in a kitchen.
Right.
And a rat who is also really good at cooking, who likes flavors and not just eating trash, helps him to become a better chef in the kitchen by controlling him with his hair.
Yes. Do we need to say more? I think this was a fun story. It's a different take on certain things, but it's one that it's like, whatever. In my opinion, it's kind of like it's one of those middle of the road movies. It wasn't exciting, but it wasn't anything to like forget about.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, surfing through Disney Plus for the kids, trying to find something other than the same children episodes of shows that we've seen over and over again. To put have a movie night. We're like, oh, we haven't seen Ratatouille in a while. Let's watch that.
Moving away from Ratatouille, we move up the list.
Oh, I see what you did there.
To get to Up.
Yes.
That's right. Now, this was pretty much one of the more iconic ones that people have seen. I mean, everybody knows the balloon with the house attached to it up in the air.
Yep.
The dog, Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the old man. The very sad beginning to that movie.
Oh my gosh, that movie's super deep in the beginning.
Man, if you want to cry 5 minutes into a movie, put on Up and you're ready to go with that tears.
But I will say what I'm a big fan of, especially with Pixar, when they can pull it off, and they've done it quite a bit in a lot of their movies, especially in Up. The opening sequence that you're talking about where we cry a lot. Right. It was told with no dialogue. Anytime you can pull that off, and you get your story across and the emotion across with no dialogue, it's genius.
It's number 15 on our list. I think it's one of the more iconic ones. It's the one that you can visually see or show a picture of and you know exactly what it's from. I just think it's one of the more heavier movies in the Pixar realm that people are not like super ready to just like throw it into the DVD like over and over and over again.
14, we're moving on to WallE. WallE.
Now, talk about a movie where you don't say a whole lot.
Yes, that's why I loved WallE. Yes,
all right.
It was good. It was great. Least amount of dialogue out of all the Pixar movies, I would say.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, just the way the story is told throughout is excellent. So, yeah. What is that, 15?
14.
14.
Yes.
14.
Yes. We have it at 14 on our list. Again, a very iconic two people in the movie, very little dialogue, very well done. I think that, to me, I'm not really keeping it high on my list. Maybe it's because I watched it when I was older than some of these other movies that I have up higher on my list. But I thought it was a really well done shot at, like, having comedy, trying something different with the formula, and really throwing it out there, being very experimental with a movie with not having a ton of dialogue. It was kind of like a silent movie in the modern era without having to be completely silent.
Now, number 13.
Lucky number 13, we went with Inside Out.
That's right.
Where it's the emotions of the girl inside the head. Realistically, what I like about Inside Out is that it's a very simple movie when you take out the emotions of it. It's a girl who gets moved from Minnesota to a whole new place, trying to start a whole new life with her family in a not so exciting place. She's having to deal with her emotions in that area. And then when you add the emotions, that's where the love, the kindness, the Pixar magic really happens. And that's what I like about Inside Out.
Yeah, expressing her emotion in in those different characters is what definitely makes it. I cried during this movie. We just recently had our little girl at this point when, what was this, 2016 when this came out?
Around that time, yes.
Around that time, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it made me think about her a lot.
I can see that. I thought it was just a really good story, really good message, and the way they did it was really, really impressive. So, number 13 on our list, very well done. But now, what's at number 12? We're at the final two for this video.
Final two, yep.
So what's number 12 on our list?
All right, at number 12, we have Finding Dory.
Yes.
Yes. Finding Dory, a long-awaited sequel to Finding Nemo.
10 years, I think.
Yeah, it took them a while to get this one out. Everyone wanted it and anticipated it. And in some ways, in my opinion, it was better than Finding Nemo, but it also had some drawbacks and some scenes.
Now, I liked Finding Dory a lot. I think that I wasn't really super excited for it or really highly waiting for this. But when it came out, I actually really enjoyed this sequel. I thought they did a really good job with it. I think, like you said, I think there was some drawbacks. I think it did pass Finding Nemo in my book, but I don't really have Finding Nemo high up on my list anyways. But I thought it did a really good job overall. But again, you're using characters, you're just bringing in a whole bunch of people. I mean, this movie has like all of Hollywood in it because they took so long with it, and then Ellen DeGeneres does a talk show, and so she just brings in people like, hey, you're in the studio and I'm interviewing you. Do you want to just come in and do a line? Yeah, do you want to do a couple of lines real quick? But I thought it was good. The final movie we're talking about, and number 11 on our list, we're talking Incredibles 2. We got some more sequels for you.
Yes.
So with Incredibles 2, this is the, again, very long-awaited sequel to Incredibles 1. Incredibles 1 was a huge big monster hit. Then they waited a long time to bring this out, and I think in the summer of 2018. And this movie did absolutely incredible at the box office, getting like over $160 million in its opening weekend. People liked this movie. Some people did not like this movie. I thought this movie was better than Incredibles 1, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it.
It shows that waiting a little bit longer to bring out a sequel works, because Finding Dory was great, and now Incredibles 2, that was great as well. I really enjoyed it. Was it the Mind Slayer? Mind Slayer. Some crazy parts in there, but so rounding everything out, it just missed the top 10. Just missed it.
But we have a lot of fantastic, great movies in the top 10. Yes. You're just going to have to wait and see what we picked for our top 10 next week in part 2.
Well, that's it. That is our ranking from 22 to 11. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Come back next week for our top 10 list.
That's right. See y'all next time.